Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today this video is packed with my top 18 DIYs from September 2020. I can't wait to show you what they were. Look at this beautiful ring from that Target dollar spot. Gorgeous. It was $3, but it's actually so sturdy. The beautiful golden tone, I fell in love with it. I actually got two, but today we're working with just one, and I am going to make a very simple wreath. If you've seen my last video of fall wreaths, which I can put in the description box below, I love my wreaths very simple, very just elegant but simple. Let's just put it that way. So I'm going to do a similar one that I did with a regular grapevine wreath in that last video, but today I'm using this golden ring from the dollar spot at Target. I'm going to take these wheat bush stems from Walmart that I got and I have used in pretty much most of my videos and DIYs for fall. I'm going to hot glue one in each direction, one going up and one going down, and I'm going to keep the shape of that ring. I almost want to make sure that ring is hidden behind that stem, and I'm going to focus on the bottom right side of that ring. Now, these are some peonies I got on Amazon. They are the coffee tone. They are stunning, my friends. If you follow me, you know that I am a little bit obsessed with peonies. And normally the pinkish vintage color ones, but these coffee tones are perfect for fall. So I am going to add a couple here, the larger one facing up and then the smaller one facing down. I made a very simple bow using burlap ribbon from burlapfabric.com. I'm going to have the website linked down below. They have beautiful selections of burlap anything. And I'm just going to place it in between both flowers there, just nice and snug. And hot glue it in place. Did I hot glue it? No, I think I tied it in the back. And then that's basically it. I'm just going to add a ribbon, the same burlap ribbon on the top, and that's where I'll hang it from, and then we'll be done. One thing I do want to mention is, and that's why I'm kind of going to show you here what I did with this. When I do wreaths that have the decor on one side of it instead of the bottom or all around it, for obvious reasons, it tends to be heavier on that side. So I wanted to mention that I did hot glue the ribbon to the actual ring, because otherwise then the ring will just obviously, just gravity will take over and it would make that wreath kind of tilt to the right. So that's why I'm hot gluing it and making sure that it's not going to go anywhere and it is as straight as possible. But look how beautiful, simple, elegant this wreath is. This is another kind of like a wreath form. This was also $3. Again, that golden tone that I thought it was very cute. I'm going to remove that string. It's like a leather or pleather, I guess, a little string. I'm going to remove that. We're going to put it back on in a little bit. I want to make a wreath here, but I'm going to make it in a pumpkin shape. So I'm just going to add a piece of scrap rope to it to the little ring on top, and I'm just gonna tie it regularly, nothing major. This is gonna serve as, because I'm gonna create a nice long stem for this pumpkin here, and I want something for the aluminum foil to hold on to. So that's what I use. I saw this technique being used by Mama Dares to DIY. I've already used it in several projects, and I just love this technique. So I'm going to have her channel linked down below if you want to check out her videos. They're so creative, so creative. So this is where I got this technique from. So I'm just going to wrap some aluminum foil, and I'm going to keep wrapping until I like the thickness and the shape. So I'm going to make it thicker on the bottom, just like any pumpkin stem would be, and then go thinner as I go. And then I'm going to kind of curl it in a way that I think it would look cute. After I hot glued a little bit of the base of the stem there, just so it didn't move so much, I'm going to now wrap it with some Dollar Tree nautical rope. Now, if you've ever separated each strand from the rope, I don't know if you have or not, but when you separate them, each strand has like a ton of jute twine. So when you separate them, this jute twine kind of separates, I guess, it loosens up, and then when I wrapped it around the stem, it doesn't look like rope, it just looks like a whole bunch of jute twine wrapped around the stem, and you'll see it. But basically, I'm just going to hot glue to secure it and then wrap it around until the entire stem is wrapped in this rope or jute twine in this case. So you can see it there a little bit better, that it doesn't even look like rope, it just looks like a whole bunch of jute twine. All right, so you can see some of the aluminum foil there on the bottom. So I'm just gonna kind of just thread more of this rope around and around until everything is covered, and then again securing it with hot glue. So now it's time to add some florals. These are some faux grassy plants that I got on Amazon. They are on my Amazon store, which is linked down below. I'm going to thread a couple branches, one facing up, the other one facing down. And I'm going to keep, again, the decorations very simple and on the right side of the wreath. But instead of the right bottom of the wreath, this was going to be a little bit directly on the side of the wreath. And threading it through the chicken wire there just makes it a lot more secure. I didn't even have to hot glue it, but I'm just going to add hot glue now to add these yellow baby spreads that I also got on Amazon. I'm going to add a little bundle, again facing up, and another one facing down. I'm going to take some burlap ribbon from burlapfabric.com, and I'm going to make a very simple bow, and I'm going to tie it in the middle using that leftover strand of rope that I have. I just thought it would just tie everything together, and just going to tie it simply in the middle, nothing too fancy. Cut the X's, and then I'm going to hot glue it in the center and between the flowers. So there you have it. I added that little pumpkin from the Dollar Tree there, just clipped right to it. And here I'm going to add that little piece of leather to be able to hang it. I actually put it on right directly underneath the stem, but I had to move it again because the floral arrangement made the wreath just kind of hang to the right. So as you can see, I had to move it just to even it out. But look how cute this looks, and really so simple, guys. These two cute pumpkins at Kirkland's. They have them both a set for $65, and I thought I can definitely recreate these, perfect for fall. So I'm going to start with some painter sticks. And I'm going to be creating two pumpkins as you saw in the original set. So over here, I'm just marking where I want to make some cuts. This taller one here is going to be the center one where it will stick out with the stem. And then I'm going to cut the other ones at 6 inches, and it's going to be 5 on each side. And that way I'll have a total of 11 sticks. And I'm going to do the same thing for both pumpkins. And once again, I'm going to use my miter box. Now you're going to see the miter box slide here and there. I should put something underneath it, but I'm here just showing you how it works. And it just, my surface is a little slippery, but it does have one side of the bottom of the box is longer than the other one, and you can actually kind of clip it to the side of the table, and that's what I did for the rest of the cuts. But just for purposes of showing you how the miter box works, I'm just showing you here. I'm doing it on top of the table or on the center of the table. But if you do not have a miter box, I do have it linked in my Amazon store, which is linked down below in the description box. I highly recommend it if you are often making crafts that have smaller woods like these. Is really good to work with. All right, so now I have all my cuts made for both my pumpkins. So it's time to just cut the angled cuts from the two side sticks. So basically here I'm just drawing the direction of the angles or the direction of the cuts that I need, but I'm going to use the angles that are in the miter box to make the cuts. Hey guys, so I want to encourage you to visit Christy's channel, the host of Cheek for Cheap every month. It is linked down in the description box below, as well as a playlist for the challenge. So if you are going to participate in this challenge, go ahead and check out that playlist link and add your video to it. Hey guys, so I want to tell you that these painter sticks are very inexpensive. I get them on Amazon and they come 200 in a huge box and they're only $20. There's literally 1 cent per each stick. I have them in my Amazon store linked down below. All right, so now I'm just going to sand off a little bit of the splintery ends on the sticks so that it is nice and smooth and not splintery at all. And then it's time to put things together. I'm just going to use hot glue to put them together because these painter sticks, as you know, they're not very thick, they're not very heavy, and hot glue would be sufficient. So the original pumpkins are planked like, and you can see through them just a little bit. So here I'm just going to separate them just a bit so that you can see through them a little bit. I am using my square to kind of keep them straight because I am going to use 2 painter sticks on the back of them to glue them and put them together. And I know that the painter sticks are 12 inches long as my square is, so I'm going to use that as a measurement. And again, I'm just going to use some hot glue and I'm going to use 2 painter sticks, one towards the top and one towards the bottom to secure them. All right, guys, so let's start painting. I'm going to paint these pumpkin using Arteza paint. This is their fabric paint, but I used them. I didn't have another orange color tone, so this is the only thing that I had, and it actually worked beautifully. It has such good coverage. I'm going to have the link to this paint down below. Again, they're fabric paints, but I'm using them on wood and they worked perfectly fine. So if you're interested, Arteza is offering you a 10% discount today on these paints and actually site-wide, and that is effective until September 30th, 2020. So check it out and use the promo code in the description box down below and take advantage of that 10%. So I'm going to give each of them one coat. One of them is going to be with their orange, and then on the other one it's going to be white. Alright guys, so as you can tell, I left the stem portion bare wood. So I'm just going to stain it now using Waverly Antiquing Wax. I'm just going to give it one coat and then wipe off the excess. And I'll do that on both pumpkins. All right, so these painter sticks are actually thicker ones. They were pieces left over from a previous project, and they're the painter sticks that are like super long, like the 5-gallon one painter sticks. So I had these leftovers from a previous project, and I thought they'd be perfect to have a base for my pumpkins, just like the original pumpkins have. So I'm just going to give them, again, one coat of the Waverly Antiquing Wax, wipe off the excess, and let them dry. Right, so the original pumpkins were a little bit distressed on the edges, so I'm going to use the Waverly Antiquing Wax and my stenciling brush to add some shadowing and distressing on the edges of both pumpkins. That way it adds some dimension, but also we want to keep it as authentic as the original ones as possible. All right, so now it's time to add some florals. These are some leaves from the Dollar Tree. They come in a little packet, and they come like a whole bunch in them. They're fabric, and I'm just going to use a few of them on both of the pumpkins, secure them with hot glue, and then I'm also going to add a flower from the Dollar Tree that I clipped off of a flower little bush stem that I got, and then I'll do the same thing on the other one.
She'll never know. Yeah, I can't tell her how I feel, because she has someone who makes her happy. I'm a ghost in these walls, or at least I try to be. Cause I hope that I'm not showing how I feel for her, but she won't feel the same for me. I've got this picture in my mind. It's just the two of us, just the two of us. But I know I have to try to let her go, because she won't be mine. I listen when she talks, I watch her when she walks. She's giving me these feelings that I've never felt before.
Alright guys, so the original pumpkins had the words thankful and blessed. Now I have this thankful tin words from Dollar Tree that I thought would be perfect for this one. Now I didn't have one that said blessed, but I did have one that said welcome, and I thought it would be okay to place it on the orange one. So that's what I did, and I'm just securing them with hot glue. And then I will be securing each pumpkin to the base of the one that I created earlier. That way they can stand upright, and I'm going to just secure them with hot glue as well. And I'm going to use a piece of leftover dowel. This is not the same dowel as I used for my previous DIY. This is a thinner one. I had leftover some pieces from my previous project, and I thought I just need something to give it a little bit more stability. So I'm going to hot glue the dowels on the base first, and then add hot glue to the base as well as the dowel, and then I can attach the pumpkins.
You say take me on a treasure hunt. I long for something new. Have you heard the fairies when they sing and dance? Oh, I wish it was me every night. When I close my eyes, I see.
take this Dollar Tree wooden leaf, and I'm going to give it one coat of the Bare Mossy Bench paint. Once it was dry, I am now going to take these doilies from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to use just one of them, and I'm going to hot glue it to the surface of the leaf. That way you see the doily, but you also have that teal tone undertone underneath, and it just looks super beautiful, super chic, and what a great way to use these doilies.
Shooting me with words, but I won't let them bruise. Even though it hurts, I won't show it to you. 'Cause it will ricochet, I won't let it bite. I will look at you and tell you that I'm alright. Like a ricochet, it will come back to you. 'Cause I don't care about you anymore.
Once again, I'm going to use the cutting tool that Arteza sent me, and it just made the work so much easier than cutting. I don't know if you've ever tried cutting around wood with a lot of detail like this with scissors, but it's not easy. So with this tool, you can just get really close to the edge and make a very good cut.
You can't hurt me like you did before. Let me tell you, not because my eyes are open, your words will keep bouncing away.
Alright, so now I am going to distress it just a bit on the edges using Waverly Antiquing Wax and my stenciling brush. I'm just going to do the very, very edges just to add some dimension to the leaf. Alright, so there's that little pumpkin I did earlier and that I didn't use on my previous DIY. So I'm going to hot glue it there to the bottom of the leaf, as well as a flower from Dollar Tree.
I used to let it in, all the things you said. You try to turn me into somebody else.
I am going to take Rustoleum Hammered Golden Tone Spray Paint, and I'm going to spray paint this Harvest word. It's like a tin word from the Dollar Tree, but again, I'm going with that golden tone, so I am just going to give it one good coat of the paint. And then once it was dry, it's time to attach it to the leaf using hot glue, and then we'll be done. Guys, this is another one that's very unique, very chic, and it has that fall look, but again with that beautiful pop of color.
But it will ricochet, I won't let it bite. I will look at you and tell you that I'm alright. Like a ricochet, it will come back to you. 'Cause I don't care about you anymore. So you can't hurt me like you did before. Let me tell you, not because my eyes are open, your words will keep bouncing away. And even if you're trying to hurt me, my skin's getting thicker each day. Don't know how you fall asleep at night.
So I'm going to take this Dollar Tree red truck sign, and I'm going to remove everything from it. The only thing I'm not going to remove is those words. The word Happy Harvest actually is textured and it has like a little bit of glitter, but it's not too much, but I'm going to leave it on because later on I'm going to trace over it. So for now, I'm just going to remove everything, and then I'm going to take my blade knife and I'm going to cut the top portion from the bottom. So I'm going to have two pieces. And then once I had it cut, I sanded down the edges that I cut so that they are nice and straight and smooth. All right, so now I'm going to tape the wheels because I want to keep them the black tone, but everything else is going to get 2 coats of Rustoleum chalk paint in the linen white. All right, so while the truck dries, I am going to take these 2 little pumpkins from the Dollar Tree and I am going to cut them in half, straight down the middle. That way I'll have 4 half pumpkins. I'm going to use my blade knife for this one, and again, I'm just going to cut it right in half. And now I'm going to paint 2 of them in the mossy bench and 2 of them and the other 2 with Rustoleum chalk paint and the linen white.
I've been thinking about my options, every detail in my head, but it doesn't really matter, nothing matters, so I cry instead.
I went outside and I grabbed a random little branch and I'm just cutting little pieces of it because these are going to be my stems for the 4 little pumpkins. And I'm going to secure them to the pumpkins using hot glue.
I haven't got a clue. Why's it gotta be me? What the hell am I supposed to do?
Alright guys, this is when things get really fun for me. So I'm going to take this Dollar Tree foam board and I'm going to cut several pieces. 2 of them are going to be more like rectangular, longer pieces, and they're about 1.25 inches thick. However, I did have to cut more of it off, so they turned out to be about 1 inch thick, and I don't really know how long they are because I just measured it with the bottom of the truck, but I would guess it would be about 5 inches long or so. So I'm going to have those 2 pieces, and those are the pieces that are going to then act like it's going to give the truck a 3D effect. So it's going to have like a mini truck bed. which I think is super cute. So I'm going to hot glue them vertically on the back of the truck, making sure that I am gluing them no wider than the top portion of the truck. All right, so now I am going to cut another piece. This is going to be a larger piece, but I'm going to keep it in the same width. That's what I'm doing there, as those ones that I just glued. And this is going to be the part that's going to then go behind the top portion, and it's going to then be glued to the bottom portion. And I know that sounds complicated, but you'll see it here. So I'm just going to hot glue that part there, and that's how it's going to kind of join together and become more of a 3D truck where you would have a mini tiny bed. All right, before we put anything together, I want to then now add some of the details that the truck had, which it lost because I painted over them. I'm going to use the Waverly Antiquing Wax, and I'm just going to add some shading, some of the details like the bumper right there, and some distressing to give it more of a farmhouse look. And I did the same thing with the top part. So now I am going to trace, as I mentioned earlier, the word Happy Harvest. So I'm going to use the mossy bench and a small brush, and I'm just going to trace it because I can see the letters through the paints because I left them so they're a little bit raised, and that way it was easy to just follow. All right, here we go. So let's put everything together. I'm going to add hot glue. Now, I don't know why I'm adding hot glue in the entire part because I'm only going to need about half of it. But there you have it. I'm going to now attach the top portion to the bottom portion so it's flush with the two little pieces I added. And guys, this is so cute. Look at that. Oh my gosh. So now I'm going to add these little pumpkins, half pumpkins. They're going to look like they are stacked on the back of this truck, which is so adorable. And again, just hot glue them to the back there.
Look out, here she comes. The woman that I love. It's too bad she'll never know. Yeah, I can't tell her how I feel because she has someone who makes her happy.
And now I'm going to add a few little details using these little faux florals. These are like dried wheat bushes that I got from Walmart. And basically, I'm going to add 3 of them, just scattering them around, and we'll be done, guys. And as I said, this is my favorite. I am so in love with them. From the little tiny pumpkin to the truck, and it has that tiny bed. Those pumpkins just fit perfect there. I'm just so happy with the way it turned out.
trust you when you say that beauty lives in me.
So I'm going to use Rustoleum milk paints and chalk paint to give these wood slices beautiful fall colors. This one is a yellow tone. Again, I'm going to have everything linked down below, or listed, I should say, down below. The second one is a beautiful blue tone, kind of like a teal blue tone. And then the third one will have a chiffon cream tone.
Later, it comes later, dear. For many of us, I promise you that we learn through the wrongs. And being rough can be sweet. Just close your eyes and know beauty lives in me. I know I don't yet know it, so I trust you when you.
All right, so now that everything is nice and dry, I am going to drill a hole on the top of each wood slice because they're going to be pumpkins. And I'm also going to drill holes in 3 little wood stems from the Dollar Tree. Now I'm going to fill the holes with some hot glue and then put in these little leftover sticks from another project that I had. And I'm just making sure that they're nicely snug in there. And then I'm going to cut the excess stick, and then I'm going to place more glue inside the wood stems. That way it's nice and secure, and I'll do the same thing on all 3.
Trust you when you say that beauty lives in me too. Beauty lives in me. I know I don't yet know.
All right, so now it's time to add some of the details. This was a nautical rope, a little piece of nautical rope from the Dollar Tree. I separated all the 3 strands, and then now I'm separating even more each strand to have all these little curly, just super cute jute twines. And I'm just going to wrap it around each stem, just tie it as if it was a scarf.
So I trust you when you say that beauty lives in me too.
And now I'm going to add a leaf from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to pick colors that really contrast well against the base color of the pumpkin. For the blue one, I picked the yellow and the orange. For the white one, I picked the red one, and then the yellow, I picked the green leaf.
Don't need someone to save me, no, and don't come running to blame me.
Now I'm going to add these little pieces of scrap wood to the back of each of them, and I'm going to secure them with wood glue and brad nails. That way they can stand upright without falling.
I would be up waiting for you if you had to leave. I would wait a lifetime if you were at sea. I just wanna say that I feel that our love is real. Maybe we should hurry up and seal the deal.
3, guys, I'm going to take these 2 old drawers. I believe my mom brought them to me. They're very old, not very old, just very dirty and just sticky. I'm going to need just the front part of the drawers for these for this DIY. So I'm going to remove them, and then I'm going to give it a good clean and a light sanding.
Let's be honest for a second. Yeah, you're being over your head, babe. 'Cause there is no one other than me that can make you feel the way you feel when I hold you. I think I said enough. You said you love for me something brand new. You said this is something you would never do.
After everything was dry, I am now going to give it 2 coats of Rustoleum Chalked paint in the linen white.
Here we are in the car. Let me see who you are, who you really are. Yeah, don't need you here to say you're sorry.
After the paint was dry, I am now going to distress just the edges using a 120 grit sandpaper.
'Cause if you're gonna leave me, then just do it. Don't take it slow, don't be gentle. No, I just gotta know if you're gonna leave me, then just do it. Just do.
Everything is sanded in the way I want. I wanted the distress to just be on the edges, so I am now just dusting the dust. Now I'm going to take the florals that are going to be on the actual decor, and I'm just going to place them on top so I can kind of mark where I want to pre-drill some holes. I'm going to use my drill to drill the holes, and that's where I am going to then secure the florals with some wire from the Dollar Tree. So I'm just going to tighten it in the back on both of them, and then I did cut the excess wire so it's just not hanging out. And then I rearranged the florals. These are baby's breaths, yellow baby's breaths that I got from Amazon. They are in my Amazon store, which is linked down below. A lot of the supplies that I use today, paints and everything, are in my Amazon store. I'm now going to take this burlap ribbon that burlapfabric.com sent me. Very flexible, very manageable. I love this ribbon. And I'm just going to make 2 simple bows and tie them in the middle using the same wire that I used to secure the florals. And now I'm going to attach both bows to exactly where I secured the florals to with hot glue. And as an added detail, I'm going to hot glue a couple of pine cones from the Dollar Tree. And that'll be it. I did add 1 claw hook to the back of each decor. That way it can be hung on the wall. And we'll be done with this one. And this one is beautiful. It has a very farmhouse look to it. And then again with that beautiful yellow that I'm just in love with this fall.
No, I don't yet know it, so I trust you when you say that beauty lives in me too. Beauty
Guys, so I'm gonna take this Dollar Tree mason jar sign. It's mason jar style, I guess. It's beautiful. It's just not my style. So I want to recreate create something very different with it. So I'm gonna hand draw here just like the outline of the jar, but basically leaving about 2 inches on each side. And I'm just doing it with a pencil because that's just, it's simple. And then I'm going to trace it with using my knife blade. And this took a little longer, so I'm just going to show you the first few seconds of how it looked and what I did. Basically, I just kept tracing it, cutting through until the knife blade went all the way through and I was able to pull out the middle part. And then once I had it out, I sanded down the leftover little glitter parts that I see there in the corner, and then I sanded the inside trim. That way it's nice and smooth. Now that everything is smooth and ready for paint, I'm going to give it 2 coats of Rustoleum chalk paint in the linen white.
I've been lying here for too long. I don't know what else to do. I wanna get away from every little thing just to try to make it through. I've been thinking about my options, every detail in my head, but it doesn't really matter, nothing matters, so I cry instead.
And while the paint dries, I'm going to use this chicken wire. I got this chicken wire on Amazon, and it's different from what chicken wire you would get at the hardware store. I have worked with that one, and it is a lot more difficult to work with. This is a lot more manageable. It's softer. It's more of a crafting chicken wire than anything else. I took that middle part that I removed, and I'm going to use that as a template, and I'm just going to draw with a permanent marker about 1 inch away from the rim there. That way I know that it'll fit in that middle part and have enough on the outside so that I can secure it to the mason jar sign. Alright guys, so I am going to again mix 2 different things. This one is more like a terracotta look, and this one has more of a hammered, I don't know, kind of rusty look. So I'm gonna try to mix it, splash it here and there to make it a little bit more vintage. I think this orange tone or terracotta tone gave it a beautiful rusty look. It just looks like it's rusted. And then I sprayed a little bit more of the darker tone on top just to mute it down a bit. And I think it turned out so cute. Now in the camera, you really can't tell. It just looks like it's dark. But later in the pictures, you'll see it a little bit closer and you'll see what I'm talking about. It just looks like that chicken wire has rusted through the months and the years. I'm going to take these scrap pieces of painter sticks that I got from a different project. I always keep these little things around for purposes like these. And I'm just going to use them to secure the chicken wire in the back. So because the chicken wire had that rustic, rusty look, I wanted to add a little bit on the edges of the frame. That way it kind of looks and ties in with the vintage farmhouse look that I'm going for.
But I ain't got nothing left. And I know there's so much more to this life, but it's hard to see it clear.
And I'm going to keep it very simple. I'm just going to take this Dollar Tree lace ribbon and I'm just going to trim, or not trim, place it in between where that trim, the upper trim and the bottom part of the sign kind of meet, and just hot glue it on the back. And then I'm going to add a simple flower to the right lower corner of this sign, and I'm going to leave it like that. I did put back the little jute twine string on top so that it can be hung, but that's it. I'm not going to do anything else. I want to keep it very simple, but I think this just speaks vintage farmhouse and it looks so pretty.
Yeah, I try my best, but nothing turns out right. God, I need you now so dearly. 'Cause I've been running circles, trying to catch my breath. I've been trying everything I can, but I ain't got nothing left.
Beautiful frame I recently got from a family member who did not need it anymore. It didn't even have a glass or anything. It was just like this. So I want to give it more of a farmhouse look. I'm going to give it 1.5 coats of Rustoleum chalk paint in the linen white. And what I mean by 1.5 is I am going to give it kind of a ombre style look. So the middle rim, so all that middle rim that I'm painting right now, it's all going to have full coverage. And then I'm going to slowly increase the dry brushing as I go out on the frame. That way it just starts kind of like, it used to be all white, like the center rim, and then it kind of has this stress through the years, and that's kind of like the look that I am going for with this one. So I gave it one coat, and then a second coat was only on the, again, inside rim part, because I wanted that to have full coverage. Everything else around it was dry brushed to give it that distressed vintage look.
Circles, trying to catch my breath. I've been trying everything I can. I ain't got nothing left.
All right, so now I'm going to take some rope. This is not nautical rope from our Dollar Tree. It's something I got on Amazon. I do have it on my Amazon store, which is linked down below. A lot of the supplies, paintbrushes, florals that I use, I do have in my Amazon store. So check it out in the link down below. So I'm going to use this rope to tie it around this little milk jug that I got several months ago now. Oh gosh, oh, probably almost a year now. And there's like a ton in this box, and I use some here and there for my DIYs. I'm just going to put a floor here, but I will secure it with some hot glue. That way it's nice and secure.
I got this feeling like it's starting now, starting now. I feel adventurous with you. And there is nothing that can hold us back, hold us back. We can do what we want to do. 'Cause we got all the time in the world. For better or worse, we should stay together. So let's stay young and in love. We should focus on us forever. Yeah, baby.
Dollar spot from Target pumpkin. Dollar Tree does not have, at least my Dollar Trees do not have the larger ones, the larger pumpkins. So I wanted to try the technique on a larger pumpkin, but you can certainly use one from Dollar Tree if that's what you have. I'm going to give this pumpkin a lot of texture. Normally when I want to add texture, I use the technique of adding caulk or not caulk, spackle. There you go. And I spread it all over. But for this one, I kind of want to try something different. I'm going to try Mod Podge and tissue paper. Tissue paper, as you know, when it's so thin that when it gets wet, it kind of um, almost melts. I feel like it just really gets really gooey, and so that's why I wanted it, and not any other paper. I'm just gonna cut it up in different pieces. It does not matter. This is all gonna be scrunched up, and it's meant to give the pumpkin texture. So I'm just gonna cut it or tear it into smaller pieces. And then I'm going to start covering the pumpkin. I removed the stem, but later I will replace it and put it back on before I paint it. So I'm going to start at the bottom, but there really isn't no right or wrong way or where to start. Just start either at the bottom or at the top, and then start putting on Mod Podge. What I did, now this is the first time I ever did it, so really I'm learning as I go. Um, as I start putting Mod Podge, then I start putting on the tissue paper, and all I'm doing is being as sporadic as possible. There's no right or wrong way. Just putting it on and scrunching it. And then if there are any pieces that kind of lift up, just lift it up, put a little bit more Mod Podge, stick it on. And then I cover the entire thing with more Mod Podge. So I add Mod Podge before the tissue paper and then Mod Podge on top of the tissue paper.
Would you stay till the morning light? Or would you follow me? Or would you let it be? If I leave tonight, we could do this right. We'll find the remedy. Or would you stay with me now till the morning light? Before you turn away, I just want you to know that I didn't throw your stuff away. Before you make up your mind that I'm nowhere to find, I'm standing right here. I know that I told you we're over. I swear that I'm sober. Just listen, I miss you. And I know that I said all these things, but now when you're with her, I can see that you miss me. Would you stay till the morning light? Or would you follow me? Or would you let it be? If I leave tonight, we could do this right. We'll find the remedy. Or would you stay with me now till the morning light? Till the morning light.
Once I had the entire pumpkin pretty covered and kind of where I wanted it or liked, but you can put as much tissue as you want. I then start just brushing Mod Podge all over it, just making sure anything that may be lifted up is pushed down, and then also using the brush to kind of give the pumpkin the shape, just pushing down on those ridges. And this is what it looks like. Doesn't it look kind of creepy? The color of the tissue paper almost made it look like skin. Oh my gosh. Anyways, I took it outside and I'm going to spray paint it black using Rustoleum flat black spray paint. And I gave it one heavy coat. I do advise that if you are going to redo this, that once you paint it, you let it dry and then you flip it over and paint it, because some paint did not get right underneath the like little ridges of where the tissue paper was. So that was one thing that I didn't do. So I do have to take it back out and spray paint it. But anyways, the spray paint did cover a lot of it. So there you have it. Look how cute that looks. Oh my gosh, I love that texture. So as you can see, I did replace back the stem and I spray painted it. And now I'm going to take this Dollar Tree, oh my god, it's not ribbon. Oh, for the love. Oh my gosh, I can't think of it. Oh, yarn. There it goes. So I'm going to take this yarn and I'm going to wrap the stem. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do with the stem, if I should leave it black, which I think looks pretty cool, very Halloweenish, but I wanted it to have more of a farmhouse look. I wanted to soften it up a little bit. So I'm just going to wrap it in the yarn all around until it's fully covered and secure with hot glue.
Maybe I'm just too weak, maybe I'm just afraid of being alone. Well, I don't care, 'cause right now I feel the love that we said we would
I still felt like something was missing on the pumpkin, so I decided to add what I thought was going to be it's a yarn bow. So I wrapped it around my four fingers, and then after I had it wrapped up enough, I then just folded it and tied it in the middle, kind of like to make a bow. But you know, it's yarn, so it didn't look like a bow. It ended up looking like a flimsy little pom-pom. But, you know, I made it work. I tied it around. I'm still not sure if this is what I want it to look like. So, um, but anyways, I just thought it just added more texture and a little bit of detail. So I placed it on there. And then we'll be done with this one, guys. And I just tell you, gosh, this texture I have to redo again. It is absolutely stunning. And I just think even if you added more tissue paper, how cool would that be? Or even add like different designs on the tissue paper. It would be really cool. I'm going to take this Dollar Tree sign. It is square, so I am going to reshape it and cut it into two different parts. So first, of course, we got to sand down all the glitter and wipe it off. And then once that's done, I'm going to start cutting them into two pieces, smaller ones, so that I can make tags.
I've been staring at the ceiling. I've been staying up all night. Everything I ever worked for vanished in the blink of an eye.
There's no right or wrong size for this. I'm just looking for or to make tags that are not so tall. So I'm just kind of eyeing it out and just kind of seeing what I like. So if you're going to recreate something like this, just go with what you want to see. But if you want exact measurements, I'd say I'm cutting about, let's see, about 2 inches or, yeah, about 2 inches off the top just to create more of a, maybe like a 10-inch high tags. And then I'm just going to find the middle so then I can have my two sides with equal sides.
I've been asking every question, 'cause I haven't got a clue. Why's it gotta be me? What the hell am I supposed to do?
And then I'm going to find the middle on the top. And again, there's no exact measurements. It's just where you want the angles to go and how long they should go. It really is up to you. But I did it where I had 2 inches on each side and then about 3 inches down. And then I just marked them. And I want both my tags to be exactly the same size. So I'm going to use one and, you know, each other to keep each other in the same measurements.
I've been running circles, trying to catch my breath. I've been trying everything I can, but I ain't got nothing left. And I know there's so much more to this life, but it's hard to see it clearly. Yeah, I tried my best, but nothing turns out right. God, I need you now so dearly, 'cause I've been running circles, trying to catch my breath. I've been trying everything I can, but I ain't got nothing.
And of course, don't worry about if the edges are not like straight and smooth because you can always just sand it down and it sands down pretty good. For the holes on top, I decided to use my drill, and this is like probably my thickest drill bit that I was able to find, which was fine for tags this size, but any tags any bigger, I think something, a hole a little bigger would be best, but for this size, I think this drill bit worked perfectly fine.
I've been running circles, trying to catch my breath. I've been trying everything I.
Alright, so I'm going to give one of the tags 2 coats of Rustoleum chalk paint in the linen white, and then the other one is going to take two coats of pale sepia in this, and that is the bare chalk paint. All right, I used my Cricut to cut these designs. I downloaded these designs from Cricut Design Space, and I am just going to add a pumpkin to the pale sepia one, and then Sweet Farm decal to the white one.
I've been lying here for too long. I don't know what else to do. I wanna get away from every little thing just to try to make it through. I've been thinking about my options, every detail in my head, but it doesn't really matter, nothing matters, so I cry instead.
I'm going to use a piece of scrap foam board from the Dollar Tree. You know those foam boards. I just cut a little piece. This is just going to add some dimension and almost like a 3D. So they're not laying right on top of each other. And I'm just going to hot glue it.
It's too bad she'll never know. Yeah, I can't tell her how I feel, because she has someone who makes her happy. I'm a ghost in these walls, or at least I try to be.
For the string or the rope, I guess, you know, I was tempted to use jute twine because I use jute twine or rope all the time, but again, I want all of these 3 pieces to kind of match each other, and so I wanted to use the yarn. I'm just going to cut. I am not even measuring, guys. Like, seriously, I don't even know what size this is, but if I were to guess, it's probably about 20 inches long, and I cut 6 strips. Now I'm going to tie it on one end, and then I'm just going to braid it. So I'm going to separate little bundles of 2, and those will be my strands, and then I'm just going to braid them and then knot them on the bottom, and I'll make 2 of those. Alright, so I left the bottoms a little bit frayed. That way it kind of made it look like tassels. And I'm just going to thread the top knot through the holes and now hot glue them to the back.
I've been trying everything I can, but I ain't got nothing left. I've been staring at the ceiling, I've been staying up all night. Everything I ever worked for vanished in the blink of an eye. I've been asking every question, 'cause I haven't got a clue. Why's it gotta be me? What the hell am I supposed to do?
I am going to use one of those panels, and I am going to use some of these painter sticks. Now these I get on Amazon, and I was super confused in my last video that I did, that I used them. So they turned out, when you use one, it's about 10 cents each. I get them a huge box of 200, and they're $20. And guys, I mean, so easy. If you love crafting, you love creating things, these are so easy to work with. I suggest, if you want to get them on Amazon. I do have it linked in my Amazon store down below in the description box. All right, so I cut these just to about I would say it's about 10 inches tall. I don't think I measured them because I just didn't, I just kind of eyed it out and then I made the cuts. I used my miter saw out in the garage to cut them all together. But you can certainly use a miter box if you do not have a miter saw. And I'm going to show you in a little bit what the miter box looks like if you do not know what it looks like. So here I am going to start attaching some of those sticks to these sides, and it's going to take 8 of them because it's going to be one on each, so 2 in each corner, and I'm securing it with wood glue and brad nails.
You say take me on a treasure hunt. I long for something new. Have you heard the fairies when they sing and dance? Oh, I wish it was me every night. When I close my eyes, I see.
All right, so here I am, so you can see they're just attached right next to each other, kind of creating an L shape on the corners. And I started using brad nails because the panel from Arteza, it's thick enough where the 1/2 inch nails work perfectly and it does not go all the way through. But when I start attaching other wood sticks to create the crate that I am going to create, I had to switch to staples because I then, the brad nails would go through them. So here I am measuring. If you're going to recreate this, my advice is measure and cut as you go, because I noticed that at first I thought, oh, it doesn't matter, math is math, I can just measure law and see. No, it's better if you just measure and cut as you go. So you can see there I'm still making cuts and as I go to make sure that everything fits nicely. And here's the miter box I was telling you about for smaller cuts, and cutting small pieces of wood like this is excellent. And I do have it in my Amazon store as well.
Beauty lives in me. I know I don't yet know it, so I trust you when you say that beauty lives in me too. Later it comes later, dear, for many of us. I promise you that we learn through the wrongs, and even the rough can be sweet.
All right, so here I am joining the 2 edge sticks because they were obviously not joined together and it was just very difficult. I couldn't figure out how to get them together. So a staple worked fine. I just made sure that one end of the staple was it hit the one, as you can see there in the corner, just making sure that it just joined both sticks together. So once I was done doing the upper trim, then I placed another stick in directly in the middle of each side, and that gave it the crate look that I'm looking for.
Just close your eyes and know beauty lives in me. I know I don't yet know it, so I trust you when you say that beauty lives in me.
All right, so now the crate is all put together and I am going to give everything 2 coats of Rustoleum Chalked paint in the linen white, and it'll be inside and outside.
Time to get there. I don't care. I'm in for the fight. It's gonna take some time, but I know that beauty lives in me. I know I don't yet know it, so I trust you when you say that beauty lives in me too.
This time I'm going to use stain. This is a Varathane stain in the Sun Bleached. It is gorgeous. If you're looking for a stain that has more of a whitewash look, this is it. This is just absolutely beautiful. It does have a stronger smell, of course, so if you're going to use it, make sure that you are in a well-ventilated area. And I'm just going to give it one coat and let it dry.
All that we have is each other now. I promise I won't leave your side. I hope who I am is enough for you. If I'm giving you my love, giving you my love, love, love. Give me love, give me all your love, give me all your love.
All right, I am now going to take these thumbtacks and I'm just going to attach them one in each corner for an added detail.
I got this feeling like it's starting now, starting now. I feel adventurous with you. And there is nothing that can hold us back, hold us back. We can do what we want to do. Cause we got all the time in the world, for better or worse. We should stay together. So let's stay young and in love. We should focus on us.
I am now going to take these peonies that I got on Amazon. They are also on my Amazon store, link down below. And I'm going to wrap the stems using the same lace ribbon I used earlier. That's so that it's more of a detail rather than just some green stems, wired stems they're showing. And I think it just looks super cute just to wrap them. And I'm going to secure it with hot glue. And then I'm going to add some greenery that I also got on Amazon. Again, everything will be linked in my Amazon store down below. And add it together on the bottom center of the panel. And it just becomes this beautiful floral piece that you can use on a wall if you add like a hook in the back or as a decorative feature on top of a table. And I think it just absolutely looks beautiful.
I've been lying here for too long. I don't know what else to do. I wanna get away from every little thing just to try to make it through. I've been thinking about my options, every detail in my head. But it doesn't really matter, nothing matters, so I cry instead. I've been running in circles, trying to catch my breath. I've been trying everything I can, but I ain't got nothing left.
I am going to take this Dollar Tree wooden pumpkin, and this is going to be a very, very simple DIY anyone can make. I'm going to give it some texture using hot glue. So basically, I'm just going to start making pouring random lines of hot glue and then let it dry. In hindsight, I would have done a better job. You know those little webby lines or webby strings that you get from the hot glue? We all know. If I would have thought about this better, I would have made sure I did not get too many of those, because as soon as I spray painted it, which I'm using this gold metallic Rustoleum spray paint, you can see all those little webbies, all those little webs from the hot glue. And I did try to remove a lot of them, but they were really stuck on there, or I didn't, it would have removed some of the other hot glue. So I just left it. But if I were to do this again, I'd make sure I'd be a lot more careful with that. All right, so after it was dry, I am going to just hot glue a couple or a few florals. These are a mixture of, let's see, no, I think all the florals are from the Dollar Tree. Not Dollar Tree, oh my gosh, Amazon. I did get these. A lot of my florals, a lot of my supplies are in my Amazon store, which is linked down below in the description box. I'm going to hot glue them in place and then put a buffalo check black and white Dollar Tree bowl right in the center, hot glue it, and then we'll be done with this one.
Would you stay till the morning light, or would you follow me, or would you let it be? If I leave tonight, we could do this right. We'll find the remedy, or would you stay with me now till the morning light? Before you turn away, I just want you to know that I didn't throw your stuff away. Before you make up your mind that I'm nowhere to find, I'm standing right here. I know that I told you we're over, I swear that I'm sober, just listen, I miss you. And I know that I said all these things, but now when you're with her, I can see that.
I'm going to take this branch that it was from our yard, and I'm going to give it a very rough, heavy coat of Rustoleum chalk paint in the linen white. And I contemplated leaving it as is, but I like it. I wanted it to be a little brighter, a little cleaner. That long branch in the center of it. In the beginning, I thought I would leave it on. For some reason, I thought it just looked very organic, and I liked it. But I ended up cutting it off towards the end. But you'll see it for now. I will paint it as well. Alright guys, so now I am going to take several of these, most of them are Dollar Tree, only I believe the beige one is not, yarns, and I'm going to create some feather-like leaves. I don't know if that makes sense. Feather-like leaves. You'll see what I'm talking about. I saw it on Pinterest and I just thought it would be super cute to recreate. So I'm going to take my time here and kind of show you how I'm doing this. If you know how to do this, you can, just be patient. But I just want to take it a little slow so that if you want to recreate something like this, you know how to do it. So I took a longer piece and I folded it in half, and it's still going to be about 12 inches, maybe 14 inches. And then I'm going to just fold here about 6-inch strips. But in reality, they're going to be about 12 inches. But I'm going to cut them in one side. So that's why they're going to look like it's 6 inches, but they're going to be folded into 6 inches. That's why. So here's a closer look. I'm going to fold one, put it underneath the longer strip, and then loop each end into each other's loops. And we'll do it. I'm going to show you again how it looks so that you can see. Now I'm going to put one facing the other way underneath, and then another loop on top, and then loop each ends into each other's loops. Once I had all the strands tied to the string, you'll see that it's starting to look a little bit more like a leaf, or a feathered leaf, I guess. I'm going to now give it some shape. So I'm going to just take my scissors and start trimming it, almost like I'm cutting hair. And I did end up cutting or trimming even more, making them a lot more narrower. But I just wanted to show you this is kind of like the process that I took. And I repeated this with all, what was it, 5? Yeah, with all 5 colors. All right, now moving on to the branch again. So now I'm going to drill 5 holes on the bottom of the branch. Uh, I don't know what size drill bit this is. It's just what I had on there. I just needed it to be thick enough where the yarn can fit into. I'm also going to drill a couple of screws on the ends because I'm going to tie a jute twine rope so that it can be hung from there. All right, now it's time to put everything together. I'm going to just start to put some hot glue inside each hole that I pre-drilled. And now I'm going to just squeeze in the yarn through the little leftover loop or the top loop. That way it's snug in there and it will not come off because the hot glue is going to keep it in there. And I'll do that with all of them. And I'm going to stagger them and just kind of make sure that they're in a colored pattern that looks right to me.
Look out, here she comes, the woman that I love. It's too bad she'll never know. Yeah, I can't tell her how I feel, because she has someone who makes her happy. I'm a ghost in these walls, or at least I try to be.
All right, and we are about done with this one, guys. And look how unique and beautiful this looks.
'Cause I hope that I'm not showing how I feel for her, but she won't feel the same for me. I've got this picture in my mind. It's just the two of us, just the two of us. But I know I have to try to let her go.
I'm going to take this Dollar Tree foam pumpkin. It's one of those that had the fabric over it. And I'm going to remove everything, the stem and the fabric from it, because we're going to wrap it with some beautiful ribbon, fall ribbon that I have had for many years. And as I was cleaning out some stuff, I saw it and I was like, oh my gosh, why haven't I used this year? Look how beautiful. It has like a burlap ribbon, and then it has the metallic leaves on it. Very, very beautiful. I'm going to cut 6 strips. I did measure the first one to make sure that it will fit the pumpkin all the way around. And basically, I'm just going to wrap them. I'm going to wrap it around and snug in the excess ribbon just so that it is nice and secure. And then I'm going to do that crisscrossing each and every one of the 6 strips.
When she talks, I watch her when she walks. She's giving me these feelings that I've never felt before. But she will never know that I love her so well. She's with somebody else and I will have to let her go. She will never know, na-na. Never know, na-na. She will never know, na-na. Never know, na-na. She'll never know. It's like she stole my heart.
And here's the final one. I did secure the final one with some hot glue because it wasn't like really digging in there. Now I want to have those little flaps there towards the bottom. I want it to be as close and as snug as possible to the pumpkin. So I'm just going to fold them and just kind of make sure that they're nice and, I guess, I don't know, just flat against the pumpkin as possible.
Without knowing she did. But I guess that it will pass. Yeah, I can't be.
All right, now I'm going to take this metallic ceramic golden pumpkin from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to secure it to the top of the other pumpkin using a combination of E6000 and hot glue.
I've been staying up all night. Everything I ever worked for vanished in the blink of an eye. I've been asking every question.
And now I'm going to add some florals. These are some wheat branches that I got at Walmart. I've used them so much throughout this through this fall season. And I'm just going to use some leftover branches that I have. And then I'm going to add a pop of color with a little sunflower from the Dollar Tree. I just thought it needed a little pop. And I just thought it just looked super adorable. And I think this is my favorite from today.
Why's it gotta be me? What the hell am I supposed to do? I've been running circles, trying to catch my breath. I've been trying everything I can, but I ain't got nothing left. And I know there's so much more to this life, but it's hard to see it clearly. Yeah, I tried my best, but nothing.
I'm going to take this piece of 1x4, and I have no idea where it came from, but we're going to use them to make some coasters. So I want the squares or the pieces to be exactly square. So I measured the width of the board, even though it says it's a 1x4, it's really more of a, let's see, 3¼ by 3½. So I took him to my miter saw and cut 4 pieces. And now I'm going to sand the edges to make sure they're nice and smooth and there are no splinters. Once I was done with the sanding, I dusted them, and now I'm going to stain them using Rustoleum Chalked Aged Glaze. This is their brown tone. And yeah, basically I'm just going to stain them like regular stain. The beautiful thing about this glaze is that it is water-based, so it dries quicker, it comes off of your hands easier, and it doesn't have like a strong scent. Now I'm going to take these Dollar Tree little pumpkins, and I am going to fill in the little holes because I don't want to see that on the coasters. And I'm just going to use some spackle to do that. And then I let it dry. I am now going to paint the little pumpkins using Rustoleum milk paint in their Venetian Yellow, which is beautiful, guys. Beautiful color. And I'm going to give it just one coat. Once the paint was dry, I then took a 220 grit sandpaper and I'm just going to lightly sand them just to smooth them out and also to just kind of tone down the yellow. I am now going to use some wood glue to attach them to the top of each coaster. And I'm going to tilt them just a tiny bit, but I'm also going to secure them with brad nails. Now you are able to see the brad nail. I'm okay with that. I could have just used the wood glue, but I want to make sure they're nicely attached. And I don't mind seeing the brad nail. I think it gives it a little bit more character and a little bit more kind of like rustic farmhouse look to it. And then once that was done, it was time to seal everything. Of course, these are going to be coasters, so you want to make sure that they are sealed in case water or any spills gets on them. So I'm going to use Minwax Polycrilyc in the clear, and this is the semi-gloss, and I gave it 3 coats. And then we'll be done with this one. to take these 4 scraps of wood and I'm going to make little kind of home shapes. I am going to draw some angle lines here, but honestly, after I drew the lines, it was basically just making some like 45-degree angle cuts. And so we did that using the miter saw. I cleaned them, dusted them. Now these one I didn't sand right away because I'm going to distress them by sanding them, and so I'd sand them later. I'm going to paint them in different colors. This taller one I am going to paint in that same milk paint by Rustoleum in the Venetian Yellow. And then I'm just going to do 2 coats, and I'm just going to do the top of each little house, not the sides, not the back. On this one, I am using the Rustoleum Chalked paint in the linen white, and again, I gave it 2 coats. For this one, I am using Rustoleum Chalked paint in the coastal blue. And for this last one is the smaller one. I am using DIYbeautyonpurpose chalk paint in the kudzu, which is a beautiful green I just recently used to redo a little side table, and it is absolutely beautiful color, especially for fall. Alright, so waited till they were fully dry, and now I'm just going to sand everything down and give it more of a farmhouse distressed look. To finish them off, I'm just going to add some jute rope to a couple of them. On this white one, I'm just going to tie it around in the middle and make a simple knot in the front. And then on the blue one, I am going to wrap it around 3 times and tie it in the back. And that's it for these, and I think they turned out absolutely stunning.
Tonight we could do this right. We'll find the remedy. Or would you stay with me now till the morning? Would you stay till the morning light? Or would you follow me? Or would you let it be? If I leave tonight, we could do this right. We'll find the remedy. Or would you stay with me now till the morning light? Till the morning.
These are 2x4s, and again, they're scraps that I had in the garage. I'm just going to kind of eye out where I want to make a cut, and I took it to my miter saw and cut them. And these I am going to sand down. They were really, really splintery. I'm going to sand them down on every side of the boards. Alright, for this, I'm going to use a paint. This is actually a fabric paint that Arteza sent me. And it's a beautiful yellow tone. I want to say it's their golden yellow. I'll have it listed down below for you. And I'm going to paint all the sides, including the top.
I got this feeling like it's starting now, starting now. I feel adventurous with you. And there is nothing that can hold us back, hold us back. We can do what we want to do. 'Cause we got all the time in the world, for better or worse. We should stay together.
Once the paint was dry, I'm now going to also distress them focusing mainly on the edges. And now I'm going to drill a hole on the top of each one. I'm going to do that using my drill and a drill bit. I'm not sure what the size is. I just basically grabbed one that fits the little kind of like stick that I'm going to be using to secure a stem, because these are going to be tall pumpkins. After I drilled holes in Dollar Tree stems, I'm now going to fill in the holes in each pumpkin, and I'm going to cut the excess, leaving about 1/2 inch of the stem or the little stick, so that I can fill in the hole with hot glue again on the wood stem, and then just place it in there, and that way it'll be nice and secure. And to add a little detail, I'm going to take these leftover leaves from, I think it was cotton stems from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to hot glue them to the 2 taller ones. And guys, we'll be done. And these are so timeless. I can't wait to put these in my own home and my decorations, because they go perfectly with the yellow that I got, or that I have on my fall decor this year. Take these 2 pieces of scrap 1x4s. I mean, guys, if these aren't scrap, I don't know what is. They were dirty, they had holes, it was just a mess. But I love it. I love when I find pieces of wood that have so much character, history on them. So basically, I'm going to make a box. It's going to be a very simple box. So I'm just going to eye out again, kind of like where the center is, and then cut 2 pieces for the sides. And then I have them right there. I dusted them and cleaned them. Now I'm going to paint these using a scraper. Now this is a different technique I have never used. So basically what I do is take some paint on the scraper and then just start kind of like spreading it. And of course not with a lot of paint on the scraper. And this will give it a very weathered look, almost as if it's been outdoors weathering in the elements. And I just love the way this turned out, guys. It's beautiful. I've never tried this technique, and I am definitely going to use it again. And I did that on all the boards, only on the outside part as well as the edges.
Don't need someone to save me, no, and don't come running to blame me. From miles away, I can tell that something's off. The way you look and how you pause when you talk, I think I said enough. You said you love for me be gentle. No, I just gotta know if you're gonna leave me, then just do it.
All right, now it's time to put everything together. I'm going to use wood glue and brad nails to build the box. And it's a simple box, guys. So basically is adding glue and brad nailing. And as long as everything matches and is even on the edges, we are good to go.
Look out, here she comes. The woman that I love. It's too bad she'll never know. Yeah, I can't tell her how I feel, because she has someone who makes her happy. I'm a ghost in these walls, or at least I try to be. 'Cause I hope that I'm not showing how I feel for her, but she won't feel the same for me. I've got this picture in my mind. It's just the two of us, just the two of us. But I know I have to try to let her go, because she won't be mine. I listen when she talks, I watch her when she walks. She's giving me these feelings that I've never felt before, but she will never know that I love her so well. She's with somebody else and I will have to let her go. She will never know, nah, never know, nah. She will never know, never know, she'll never know. It's like she stole my heart without knowing she did. But I guess that it will pass. Yeah, I can't be the only one who got lost inside the blue of those eyes. I've gotta let her go.
For the bottom piece, I am going to use a piece of leftover cardboard. This is from a box that I got from a shipment from Amazon. And I could have used wood. I didn't have a piece of wood that was this large. I did have a piece of paneling. But honestly, guys, cardboard is perfect because what I'm going to put in it is pumpkin. So no big deal. I used the bottom of the box to trace the perfect size for the cardboard to be. And then I'm just going to cut it using my blade knife. And then I'm going to attach it to the bottom of the box using my electric stapler.
Give me love, give me all your love.
So guys, we're just about done with this video. Thank you so much for watching. This video is packed with tons of inspiration, and I hope you get something out of it. I hope that it inspires to create your own DIYs, and particularly in home decor. If you're visiting for the first time, I ask you consider subscribing, hitting that subscribe button, and become part of our YouTube family. And if you're returning, as always, I'm so thankful for your time that you take to watch, and I hope it inspires you. Guys, have a great day. I'm going to have a ton of information, things linked down below, list of paints that I've used. Check it out. And don't forget to also check out my new channel, Beauty on Purpose at Home. It is also linked down below. And guys, I'll see you next time. Bye.